Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Athletic Park for the second matchup in a row between the Weyburn Beavers and the Medicine Hat Mavericks. Here from Medicine Hat, Alberta on Little League Day. The stands will be packed with lots of the city's young ball players who look to cheer on their hometown team today and hopefully will them to another home win as the Mavericks hunt down their 7th straight. But first, let's tune into Mavs pregame here and talk a little bit about the matchup from yesterday and what's going on today. My name is Truman Bartman, and alongside me, as always, is Wayne Slosher. And Wayne, an interesting way to end yesterday's game, but haven't they all been interesting to end here so far at Athletic Park?
We've had several of those funky finishes, I would call them, but, you know, the coach tried a strategy that sometimes backfires on you when you intentionally load the bases with less than 2 out, and you're thinking that, well, if we load the bases, I'll get the matchup perhaps I want as pitcher versus hitter, and we can turn a double play. And if it works out that way, it works out great in your favor, but sometimes you walk that batter with bases loaded, you walk in the winning run, or you hit the batter, which happened last night.
So it'll be a big recovery here if Weyburn can make it today. You lose in a game that you felt like you had most of the way, even at a 2-run lead at one point, courtesy of Trevor Dale, who had a monster day yesterday with 2 home runs. But let's take a look at who's going to be in today's lineup, and let's start with the visiting Weyburn Beavers. We do not have a graphic for them as the lineup was not in time, so that is the punishment when you don't get your lineup up top. But Wayne, take us through who's playing for them.
Yes, for the Weyburn Beavers, Zach Tanabe is leading off. He's at shortstop. Noah Brooks in right field. Trevor Dale at third base. Braden Mayencourt in the lineup today. He's a DH. Ryan Daphne at first base. Alex Alva at second base. Brigham Kokatayo in left field. Chet McDaniel in center field. And Breaker Smith will be doing the catching. For the hometown Mavs, Jeremy Freeman in center field. He'll be leading off, followed by Yusi Uzawa. At shortstop, Tyler Vanesti at third. Carter Roth at second. Evan Morrison at first. Aaron Volcano in right field. Blake Dale is the DH. Jamal Chabot is the catcher. Micah Dvorak is in left field. And the umpires for tonight's game, or this afternoon's game, is Cody Nelson will be doing the home plate. Crew chief Mike Richards at first base and Brian Stair at third base.
And it's another windy day out there. Sky, once again, very blue. You're getting accustomed to seeing that on this broadcast. And the heat, once again, really solid out there. Not too overwhelming, but good enough to be outside and enjoy the weather. But that wind yesterday was a factor. We saw the Micah Dvorak home run get a little more push to get over the fence. And it ended up aiding the Mavs at the end of the day. We'll see if it plays more that way today.
Yeah, it is a beautiful day. It's 20 degrees, which is about 70 degrees Fahrenheit. The breeze is blowing in from left field. From left field, foul line to first base. And as you mentioned earlier, there's going to be a great crowd here today. I'm expecting 1,600 to 1,800 people. So the players will enjoy playing in front of a full house again.
And for Gary Dornan, who we'll talk more about in a second and share share his stats with you, it is his first start at Athletic Park. It's his first start in the WCBL, and he's only just a 17-year-old. So I'm sure it's an exciting moment to get to pitch in a game like this with a big crowd. But also for a 17-year-old, the nerves will be sky high, and a lot of his teammates said that they were trying to joke around and get under his skin and keep it light for the most part today going into this start. But for Gary, it'll be just him and the batter once he gets on the mound, and we'll see how he deals in that setting.
I'm sorry, Truman. Is Gary, did he not play up at Badlands Baseball Academy?
He did indeed.
Up in Oyen. Yeah, great program up there. It's just about an hour and 45 minutes, maybe 2 hours north of Medicine Hat. And Nolan Radai, who is a former Mavs great player, is now the head coach for that Badlands Baseball Academy. So, yes, great opportunity for Gary Nornan.
And the rest of the lineup around him, as Wayne just said, will stay very similar. And I think if you're Weyburn, when you see almost an identical lineup a day later, they're going to have a strategy for these batters that they didn't have the luxury of a night ago.
And it'll be interesting to see how the Weyburn players take to having a large crowd that will be cheering against them. And sometimes, when you're used to playing to a smaller crowd, all of a sudden you're on a big stage. And this should be a good test today. The Mavs can't overlook Weyburn. They might have taken them a little bit for granted yesterday, but Weyburn gave them everything they could handle.
And bullpen-wise, almost everyone available today for the Mavericks. Luis Diaz, the only for sure pitcher that will not be in this game. And, of course, the starter yesterday, Danny Retzlaff, who had an amazing game, his best of the season with 8 Ks. He won't be available today either, but they do have that luxury with how their pitchers have gone the last 2 games.
And I think this game could be a lot closer than last night's game, considering Weyburn struck out 15 times in the game, and they've got to make more contact if they want to be successful.
Yeah, I talked to one of their volunteers before the game, and he was mentioning that since 2022, each team has improved so much the next year, but they're still getting a similar result, and that's ultra frustrating because Weyburn feels like they have the players, they have the tools, but the record isn't coming with that each year. And after a start that they've had this season where they're well below 500, they're in that territory again, and there is an urgency to flip it around. And doing so against a divisional opponent in the Mavericks, it's even more important.
I think the one thing people watching forget is how far Weyburn has to travel every year. They and Fort McMurray have by far the farthest travel in the league.
Now we will send you down to the field for O Canada and be right back with our first pitch. The seats are filled here in Medicine Hat, and let's take a little bit of a deeper look at who the Mavs have on the mound tonight. If you're just joining us, that is 17-year-old Gary Dornan. 0 wins on the season, just 1 appearance in relief. That was against Swift Current. Got a 9 ERA with 4 strikeouts. So we know that he can hit the strike zone. Can he do it at a consistent rate and follow the likes of Xander Roberts and Danny Retzlaff, who have had lights-out starts over the last 2 days? And the first player that he'll face in this game is Zach Tanabe, the leadoff batter for the Beavers out of Graceland College. And at Graceland, he's had quite the 3 years. In his first year, he had a .295 batting average. Second year, .349, and then down a bit this year at .310, but all of those numbers very good, and there's a reason he's the leadoff hitter. When you hit for average, you're going to be in that top spot. Not the biggest power hitter, though, just 9 home runs in those 3 years at Graceland. Dornan gets warm here. And we've mentioned this in the last couple of games, but what we've seen from the Mavericks starters in their first go-around at home are some nerves, getting behind in the count. we'll see if Dornan experiences some of those symptoms early on here at home, or if he can just bypass that and get into the mode that his other two counterparts did the last 2 days. And even beyond just the starters, the relievers have come alive too. Jesse Alfaro's had a great season. A.J. Dahl with a really solid outing to close out yesterday's game, the best we've seen from him as well. Dornan will continue getting warm here. So the Mavs have an off day tomorrow, and then they go on a bit of a road trip. It's going to be a weird weekend next weekend when they have no home games for really one of the only times this year. They get the one Friday night game against Okotoks, which could be a wet one, projecting rain. But the sky is clear today, and that's all that matters. As Dornan stretches out, and he eyes down Zach Tanabe.
Tanabe was 0 for 6 last night.
So we mentioned all those good things about being a good average hitter, and it was the opposite here on the road. First pitch from Dornan is a strike. Will help calm things a bit for him here. And with an early start time today, you won't be seeing the lights go on tonight here at Athletic Park unless it's a real long one, as this is foul and immediately called as such. Last night we saw one that down that line that was called foul by one umpire and fair by the other. The ruling ended up being foul, but some confusion down that stretch yesterday. There's the throw from Dornan. It's hit up into the air and over in right field, and under it is Aaron Volcano. That's out number one for the Mavs, and Dornan is get his first out here at home. Still waiting on his first strikeout in Medicine Hat is Gary Dornan. And Noah Brooks hits for good average, but also has been haunted by the strikeout this year. First throw is going to be in the dirt from Dornan. Chabot will request for a new ball. And there's still people filling into the seats here. Mentioned that it was packed before, but the lineup outside was gargantuan. Dornan couldn't get that one down, and he's behind 2-0.
Yeah, this might beat the second game of the season of 1,993 fans.
And that was, I believe that one was softball night, so.
That's right, it was softball night, so.
You know who might love this even more than those who work at Athletic Park? The vendors here.
Yes.
Kona Ice and Swirls.
Kids and the Mavs concession.
And the Mavs concession. People want cold treats on a hot day, and especially kids. If there's a little bit of a sugar incentive, they're going to be all over it. Count is 3-1. Here's the throw from Dornan, and it's a high sailor for his first walk of the day. Now we'll see Trevor Dale. Can he continue his historic trend here at Athletic Park? 2 home runs yesterday accounted for all 5 RBIs for the Beavers. Here's the throw from Dornan, and it'll swing and miss on the first pitch. It was an interesting day for Dale because he was so good offensively, and on the opposite side, he was bitten a few times.
Yeah, he had a couple of tough plays down at third base and got charged with 2 errors. I believe that was the only 2 errors that Weyburn had.
Yeah, one, it didn't go, it almost looked like it went through his glove, but it went right over it, raised a little higher than he thought, and the other one right in between his ankles. This one is popped. This is going to be a tough play here. Freeman charging in. He's got good speed, and it'll drop. So it's a beautiful hit there off the bat of Dale as he continues his strong play here on the road.
Now, that's one of those pitches where you think you make a good pitch and you jam the hitter, and he just happens to land the ball where nobody can get to. So a good pitch, good piece of hitting.
And DHing today, Braden Mayencourt, a veteran on this team, didn't play yesterday. But he's seen the Mavericks before. Maybe not all these players, but he's familiar with this ballpark as the first pitch is for a ball from Dornan. A chance to drive in the game's first run for Mayencourt. Here's a grounder up the middle. Could be two and a high hop right off the apron. Runner is going to come around to score, and the Beavers have a 1-0 lead.
That was a tailor-made double play, but it took a bad hop right in front of our second baseman.
And I think this is the perfect time to talk about the dryness out there right now and what the field is suffering from. That wind and the heat and not a lot of moisture over the last couple of days has turned this place a bit yellow. And I was talking to Jeff Morrison, and he said that he's not happy with the condition that the field is in right now, but he's done everything he can. He's watered the snot over it the last couple of days, and he's thinking that the couple of days off here for the Mavs not playing and the field to get some rest will be good for its return to full health.
Yeah, the field definitely looks dry right now, and I would soak this thing right after the game. As soon as the game's over, I would soak it for about 5 or 6 hours, and not the infield. The infield doesn't need too much water.
Well, we saw that in game 1 of the season with the pool over between first and second. But for the Weyburn Beavers, seeing that their home park has always had its fair share of bumps and really hasn't gotten out of a rhythm of not being a fun place to play, at least surface-wise, their coach was saying that he was happy to play at a park like this and get away from home because of how nice the turf is.
Well, I think the infield is good. You know, you're going to get the odd bad hop.
Here's one that's sent up into center field, and now it's drifting over into right. Freeman's going to make the play, but a run will come in to score. So a sacrifice fly from Ryan Daphne, who we'll get to his defense a little more later in the broadcast. We talked about it off the top, but now the batting going with it in this game. And this is got to be the game plan if you're the Beavers. Get to the Mavericks early, put a little bit of doubt in their mind, and maybe more importantly from their perspective, doubt in a young pitcher's mind early on. Dornan's got 2 outs. He's still got 1 on the base path over at first as there's a swing and a miss from Alex Alva. Alva came in to pinch run for Ian Heck yesterday, who's not in the game today, so you assume he's gearing up to pitch here in a game or two. They want to preserve his energy as a swing and a miss again from Alva.
That looked like a changeup from Dornan. It's good to see if he's got that changeup that he's using it.
Alva's going to foul that one off. Dornan trying to get him on 3 straight. Alva will step back into the batter's box. He's got that back toe right up on the line. Dornan gets another foul off from Alva. And another positive for the Beavers, if you can get in some competitive at-bats and get the pitch count up early. I know the Mavs have a lot of options, but chasing a starter is always important. One's going to miss. Dornan hoping that Alva would chase.
Yeah, with the off day tomorrow, they'll empty the tank, I would think, with pitchers.
Here's a foul back to the netting. Great at bat here from Alva.
Fans are still flocking in.
And a swing and a miss. Dornan wins the battle with Alva, and that will conclude our top of the first. But the Beavers get 2 on the board. 1 with a sacrifice fly, and another with a interesting bounce right off the apron. We'll head to the bottom of the first in a few and see what the Mavs have in store batting-wise on this beautiful Sunday. Let's take a peek at who the Weyburn Beavers have on the mound today, and it's Graham Middleton. Second pitcher in a row to be out of the same college, Central Baptist, as we saw Dylan Parton. Fantastic day for him yesterday. He was pitching from the left side. Middleton from the right today. 0 wins on the season, just the 1 strikeout with a 9 ERA. He hasn't pitched in, I think he's just pitched in 1 game so far. So it'll be a test for him to adjust to this atmosphere as well, as we mentioned earlier with Dornan doing the same. Middleton's first matchup will include the likes of Jeremy Freeman Jr., who has been spicing things up as of late, ever since he was moved to the top of the order. Not only has his speed gotten the chance to go even more, but his bat has been working. First pitch is high here from Middleton.
Yeah, Jeremy had a great night last night.
First 2 pitches are balls here for Middleton.
He's moving up in the batting race too, isn't he, in the batting average?
Chasing his teammate Carter Roth. There's a strike from Middleton, his first of the day.
That's a good take. Make him throw a strike.
Freeman will ground this one down to third, and it's taken by Dale. He sends it over to Daphne at first for out number 1. Confidence builder for Dale there after the bobbles that we talked about before, just to get one in the mitt and get it clean over to first. Gets his head back in the game. Freeman, a lot of words there for Uzawa. Maybe already seeing something with Middleton.
Well, I think that last pitch that Jeremy swung at was a curveball, and I think he's just probably telling him the rotation on it or how hard it's coming.
This one's going to be hit over to first, and taking it all the way is Ryan Daphne for out number 1, or out number 2 rather. And now that Daphne's made a defensive play, we talked about it in the pregame show. Yesterday was a clinic. Everything found his glove. It was one of the best performances I've seen from an infielder here. They were hitting him hard at him, too.
Yeah, he had some scorchers hit down at him and never flinched once. He made every play that was hit to him.
And I asked Luis Diaz and Diego Centella about the Evan Morrison hit down to first, and they go, oh, one, it would have hurt to catch that, and 2, I don't know how he caught it. It's as good of a hit that you can put on a ball.
He just about stacked the pads on that one.
He did.
As a goalie would, and then caught it with his glove.
Dominic Hasek style as Venesti hits this one high. Can it use the wind and go all the way? It will go! Tyler Venesti, a solo shot here at home, cuts the Beavers lead in half. It's 2-1.
That was a pretty swing. No effort at all. He just let the velocity hit the barrel of the bat, and it jumped out of here.
Same place that Micah Dvorak's went out yesterday, and that's 2 home runs in the last 3 games for Tyler Venesti at home. He has reached superstar status once again, and talked about Freeman's batting average jumping up. Tyler Venesti's is sure to jump a little higher.
Was that Venesti's 3rd or 4th home run?
Might be his 4th by now, because he had a couple on the road there that one game, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's his 4th home run. I think
Looking at it here, you are right, Wayne. 4th of the season.
I think he's tying Dale from Weyburn for
and another high one. Lead. This one won't have the jump, and so it's a fly out for Carter Roth. But the Mavs, they do damage on the scoreboard, just putting up the 1 run, but it's crucial in keeping this game close. The Beavers see if they can respond in the 2nd inning of play. And Brigham Kokatayo up to the plate. That last name got to be on the favorite list. We were going through those before the game had started at what names are the best, and Kokatayo's got a good ring to it. Dornan back out for his 2nd inning of work and starts it off with a strike. And we mentioned, obviously, the importance with an early home run for Venesti going over the fence and splitting the game in half, keeping the Mavs in it. But Wayne highlighted something that might make that home run a little bit more important due to the type of game that this is today, as there's a swing and a miss from Kokatayo.
Well, it's just one of those things where it's nice to answer back when your visiting team comes in and scores a couple. You want to get right back on the scoreboard, and that was a great play by Venesti, or a great hit by Venesti. And then with, I'm going to say, 2,000 fans here today, or over 2,000 fans, every dad is wanting to see their son watch somebody hit a home run. So as soon as that ball's up in the air, that's an exciting thing. And it doesn't have to clear the fence by 50 feet or 100 feet. Just get it over the fence. It's still a home run.
And Dornan with a strikeout there. Here's going to be a chopper over to Venesti. He'll double pump, send it to Morrison at first for out number 2. And this top of 2 is going by fast. 3rd batter of the inning here in Bryker Smith will come to the plate. Then it'll be back up to the top of the order for Zach Tanabe.
I don't think any fan has ever complained about a game going by quickly, have they?
No, I don't think so, at least. I guess you would.
Certainly no broadcaster.
Well, it depends what kind of game it is. If it's a dogfight,
Yeah.
you want those to go on for 20 innings.
Oh, that just missed.
Good looking pitch there from Dornan, but it's a ball.
Yeah, it's good to see him settle down. He's thrown lots of strikes, pitching ahead.
Getting under it and sending it up just over the section that is probably the most packed. That's over in section G to our far right. I know you can't see it on your screen. But in the bleacher section, at least, I don't know if there's any wiggle room.
No, not much. And if you look over on A, B, and C, it's the same thing. There's not a lot of empty seats.
Here's one shot foul. So Smith will return to the batter's box.
And there's about a dozen or so kids beyond the home run fence out in left and center field waiting for a home run.
Dornan a long wait here as he strides forward. Couldn't get it down, and that one's a ball. This count is 2-all. Grounded over to Yusei Uzawa. He'll get it to Morrison at first, and that's a 1-2-3 top of the second. Good response from the Mavs in the defensive department. We'll see if the bats can keep turning and follow the lead that Tyler Vanesti put out last inning. But let's take a closer look at the two teams we have matching up here today and what they've gone through this season. Mavericks with an 8-2 record. They have been dominant in the East Division, tied for first with the Saskatoon Berries. And in that same division are the Weyburn Beavers, 2-6 on the season. Not an ideal start after their first game in which they pummeled the Berries, but have slipped down the standings ever since. The Mavs with the win yesterday. We mentioned when we showed this graphic yesterday that it would have a different look today, and it does. 1-0 for the Mavs, 0-1 for the Beavers. The Beavers looking to make that a 500 record against the Mavs today. And the Mavs looking to get one more ahead. And the run total now at 107 for the Mavs and 54 for the Beavers. And although the Mavs have played 2 more games this season, I'm not sure that the Beavers are going to be able to score, 53 runs in 2 games? And that was the lowest run total of the season for the Mavs yesterday with only 6, and they still got the win.
Yeah, that was a good game yesterday. I enjoyed that game. It was back and forth. Weyburn went ahead. The Mavs tied it. Weyburn went ahead again. The Mavs tied it. And then eventually in the 10th inning, the Mavs were able to win it. The dimensions here at Athletic Park, 350 down left field and right field. So you got to hit it pretty good to hit it out. 365 in the power alleys, and then 380 to center field.
Evan Morrison, he's hit it out a couple of times this year here. Wasn't his best day yesterday. Look to respond here this afternoon. Middleton back on the mound for his second inning of work. Has his team in the driver's seat. First pitch is a strike on that left half of the plate. And a swing and a miss there from Morrison. He's quickly behind 0-2.
That was a good changeup. A beautiful day to be at the park. You know, it's not too hot. Tomorrow it's supposed to be 90 degrees here. So today 70. If it was 90 degrees or 33, which it's expected to be, it would be tough for everybody to be sitting in the sun section.
Yeah, that makes walking on concrete mission impossible.
Good job. Foul it off.
Count is 2-1, and just wanted to address here, if you're wondering why the center field camera isn't in play a lot of the time on this broadcast, it's due to a strong wind that pushes it back and forth and makes it unpleasant to watch as Morrison will push another aside. And not unpleasant to watch for Middleton as he's trying to get around him here. So once we get that center field camera stabilized at some point during the season, we will have more of a consistent back and forth between the two, as this one goes back off the kneecap of the catcher Bryker Smith, who didn't play yesterday. It was Robert Gurney behind the plate, so a change there for the Beavers. Here goes Middleton with the throw. Morrison going to pop another one foul. Good battle going on here. Waiting on deck behind Morrison is Aaron Volcano. He's had a tough last couple of games. Things haven't been falling into place as much as they did the first few. Morrison, another foul in that same spot.
That's got to be the 9th pitch, at least for Morrison.
We mentioned in the first the Beavers trying to get Dornan's pitch count up.
Yeah.
Morrison pushing a little bit of that back the Beavers' way. Morrison into the air. This one will be playable, believed by the shortstop, and it's down into the glove of Tanabe. One down here for Weyburn. And now up is Aaron Volcano. And for the first time this season, I believe it's the only time we've had just one Volcano in the lineup. Adam not in today. He played third yesterday. And Johnny, another rest day today. Believe we'll see him in action on Tuesday. That's the hope. First pitch is a ball to Volcano. This time it's a strike for Middleton. Middleton, a senior at Central Baptist College, so he's had lots of experience in, I would assume, high-pressure games on the mound. And in a game that could be close the entire way, I feel like that works to his advantage.
Yeah, that pitch looked like it wasn't a strike, but it was a strike.
Count is 1-2. And this one's going to be grounded over to third. Dale is to it. And he mails it off over to first base for Ryan Daphne. First two batters out here as the Mavericks look to get somebody on. It's Blake Dale, who's DHing today. Filled in as a pinch runner yesterday in the extra innings. Or extra inning, rather. Batting in the 7th spot here. He did score the winning run. There's a little bit of confusion going around with that play. As Yusi Uzawa almost didn't touch second base, and that's where the controversy came from at the end of the game. I didn't see Dale touch it because I was looking at the celebration, so I thought it could have been him as well, but he was clearly through there.
Yeah, he clearly just trotted home and stepped on the base. Yeah, UC was the runner at first base, and he just, as soon as the ball was, it was hit by a pitch, he started walking off. But he may not have had to touch the base.
We saw Cam Williams out there at the end of the game questioning that, but more so questioning where Vanesti had been hit. The umpire signaled that it was the forearm, and rather it was the hand. I believe the Beavers went back and looked at it on the replay after the game had concluded and saw that it was the hand. It was awfully close to the knob, though.
Well, there was a play that went against Weyburn earlier in the game where it was off the knob, and at first it was thought to be a hit by a pitch.
And Dale will swing and miss there. He's about to go back to the dugout. That one gets over to first, and I don't think he would have gotten there in time, but a slow start out of the box for Dale, and that does it in a game that's off to a fast start here. We're already through 2 innings of play, and the Beavers still got a 2-1 lead. Now a word from our sponsor, Igniter Tickets. And we're back into the action here. The Beavers look to add to their run total. Only on the 2 on the board early. But they didn't score a run that wasn't via the homer last night, so they're off to a different sort of scoring start. Swing and a miss there from Tanabe. Tanabe, that one near the hands as he fouls it off. The kids on that far right side won't be able to get to it unless they crawl onto the field. You can see a pitcher down in the Weyburn dugout saying, "Can I go and help them get the ball?"
Well, there's about 25 of them down there.
That pitch is going to miss from Dornan. Count is 2-2, and he is going to run down there. See if we can get a number to who that player is. It's Luke Malzewski, who was in yesterday's game, not today's game. He'll go and deliver the goods.
There's another one.
And another one out there is this time he won't have to help them. It's over that fence.
It's always good seeing young kids at the ballpark. Most of the times they're not watching the game. They're just here with their buddies hanging out.
And good to see from Malzewski as well. You know, every kid dreams to get a baseball when they go to a game, and getting one from a player is just that much cooler. Remember my first baseball game, Blue Jays and Tigers, I guess MLB game, my first one. And Joe Biagini, reliever, signed my hat and got to get a picture with Jamie Campbell. It was a cool experience. Made my day as a young kid. And the day for Zach Tanabe includes a walk here. Noah Brooks will hit with one on and nobody out. One awfully close to the body of Brooks, and he didn't flinch.
Tanabe's got a good lead at first base.
They're going to throw back that way. Good check in by Dornan. Gary Dornan will check in again with him. High pitch to Brooks.
Yeah, he's got to focus in here now and keeping the pitch low in the zone, get a ground ball.
Be interesting to get a look in at the mind right now of Gary Dornan with things happening over at first base. Brooks at the plate, dangerous hitter.
Boy, you got a gracious call there from the umpire. That pitch looked to be outside by at least 4 inches or so. But there was one earlier like that, and it was a strike too.
Brooks smashed that one foul. Maybe a play there for Vanesti, and he's going to make it.
Wow.
Good job by Tyler Vanesti. That pole can be complicated to get around. I know you can't see it on your screen, but there's a pole holding up the netting, and Vanesti had to see the ball as it crossed over top and make a split-second reaction. So Dornan works with one out on his side now. Ground ball would get him out of the top of the third. And this one is going to be a ground ball, but it's a base hit. Hat's going to fly off of the head of Volcano. He's going to send one, and Vanesti's there, but it allows a runner to advance. And
bad decision by Volcano.
So 2 in scoring position here for the Mavericks after a defensive lapse.
That had to go into second base. As soon as he saw the throw going into third, the hitter just trotted down to second base. Now there's 2 guys in scoring position and no chance for a double play. And that's where the infielder's got to be communicating as well as to where the throw goes to.
Braden Mayencourt up to bat. Chance to drive in a few runs. Takes that one for a ball as it was dipping down. Mayencourt DHing today, but he's also played a bit of catcher. He was the 2025 AMC second team catcher during his collegiate season.
Dornan falling behind a little bit too often here.
Swing and a miss there from Mayencourt.
That looked like ball 3, did it not? Like, definitely.
Here's one that's pulled foul. It'll be interesting to see if Weyburn plays the you beat me game as this game progresses and if Dornan isn't hitting the strike zone.
What kind of a game? I'm sorry.
Well, let him pitch to you until he starts finding the zone. You got to earn your strikes. This one's going to be hit up over to second, and they'll take the out at first, so a run comes in to score. It's an RBI for Mayencourt. So still one in scoring position here over on third base. Ryan Daphne comes to the plate looking to extend the lead. That pitch is going to be for a ball. And it's a long ways away. If you see a moving white object beyond the field, that is not a highway over there. There is a car driving on a walking path. Looks like a maintenance vehicle from this angle.
Yeah, that's on the other side of the South Saskatchewan River, which is just behind left field, beyond the berm.
Dornan is going to miss there. See the signal from Daphne telling his runner not to go. Good cover by Chabot. Dornan does have the 2 outs in his favor. Good piece of hitting there from Daphne as it's down, and that'll be a RBI single for Ryan Daphne, so I believe 2 RBIs on his day early on.
Yeah, you know, that last ground ball that went to a shortstop, to second base, Carter Roth, that could have been a double play ball had Volcano not thrown the ball to third base. That would have kept the runner at first, and that was a patent double play ball, and that's an additional run given up just on a bad decision by the outfielder.
Having the ability to go back in time would be a beautiful thing.
Yeah, but you got to think those plays ahead of time so that, you know, you don't have to go back in time.
Well said.
I think that's a good timeout, going out there and settling Dornan down. Get him to pitch ahead.
And this is where Cesar Rodriguez is so valuable for young players like Gary Dornan, a guy in Cesar who's pitched here. He's gone through this league. He's gone through everything collegiately. The perfect mentor for a guy like Gary Dornan. This one ripped into right field, and it's a base hit from Alva. Throw will go in. Uzawa's going to miss it. It goes all the way to third for Venesti. It was a tricky play for Uzawa regardless with the hot bounce. And Brigham Kokatayo at the plate. Chance to get a couple of RBIs his way and extend this lead, as it's already a 3-run lead here for the Beavers. The only run for the Mavs being Venesti's solo shot. It's the tricky part. You can hit as many homers as you want, but as we've seen with the Mavs in the last 2 days, both have been solo shots, so they haven't paid off as much as you would have liked. This throw from Dornan is going to jam Kokatayo.
I'm surprised that nobody's getting up in the Mavs bullpen.
Kokatayo didn't go there, and that's confirmed by the first base umpire. Count is 2-1. Here's one that swinged and chopped off, so it'll go to 2-2. Gary Dornan said he didn't expect to start it all this season. And now he finds himself in a starting spot here and is looking to work himself out of it. Lots of bouncing going on behind him. That pitch will miss.
Full count. Infielders will have to go across.
And they move this one over into center field. Freeman's got a track on it, and he's going to reach out and grab it. Maybe not as easy as it looked off the bat. And that'll do it for the top of the third inning. But another 2-run effort from the Weyburn Beavers. They got a 4-1 lead with 5 hits tacked on to that as well. Mavericks will be up next with the bats, looking to combat what the Beavers have put up. Jamel Chabot with his dad in the stands today comes to the plate.
That's always great when you get to play, when you've got a parent here or a good friend coming to watch you play.
And Chabot didn't know that he was here yesterday. Found out after the game, and now is excited to play knowing that his dad is in the stands now. And another player that has a parent in the stands is Max Hudlow. I believe his dad's up here as well. He just arrived. Long drive up this way. And he said seeing the same image over and over again driving through Sask was quite tough with all the planes. Like a revolving door.
Well, I did see a vehicle with Washington license plates on when I was walking down to the ballpark today. It passed me on the road, so I'm wondering if that's Chabot's family.
Very well could be. Chinny, Washington is where he's from. Hudlow up from Minnesota. So both a long ways away from Medicine
Yeah,
Hat.
he went.
So Chabot is down on strikes. Micah Dvorak will get his first taste of the Sunday action here. As we mentioned earlier, hit a home run yesterday. He's looked good.
Yeah, Mavs only 1 hit so far. Beavers with 5 hits. 4 runs on 5 hits. Mavs' only hit was a solo home run by Venesti.
Dvorak swing and a miss on the first pitch from Middleton. Dvorak. This one's got some pull to it. It'll send the right fielder back quite a ways, but not far enough as Brooks gets it down. 2 outs here for the Mavs. It's becoming a theme here. 2 up, 2 down. Freeman coming to the plate. Speaking of themes, later in today's show, we'll be taking a look at some of the hottest players in the WCBL. We got 2 for you who have torn up the league this week and torn up the league all season long. And one of those being on the Mavericks.
Mavericks haven't been able to get the leadoff hitter on base yet in any time this inning or this game so far. In fact, haven't been able to get anybody on. We haven't had a base runner. Unless you consider the home run a base runner.
Freeman's got a favorable count to do that, though. No strikes to him yet. Here comes the throw, and it's low again, so it'll remain that way. Low throw, so it's a 4-pitch walk to Freeman. And a missed opportunity for Middleton.
Well, good speed on the bases, contact hitter at the plate with good speed. The unfortunate thing is you can't do much here with 2 away. You can steal a base, which wouldn't be bad because then you have Usawa leading off the next inning.
10 stolen bases on the year for Freeman.
Oh boy, he's got a good lead at first.
Doesn't go there. Yeah, Middleton didn't check on him at all. That might have been the chance. Another high pitch to Uzawa, and the strike zone is eluding Middleton at the moment.
Well, that's 6 balls in a row. 4 to Freeman and 2 to Uzawa. Attaboy, good take.
Uzawa at shortstop again today. Throw from Middleton is a ball.
This could be a good pitch to run on. It's either going to be ball 4 or Uzawa will be probably swinging at it. Doesn't look like Freeman's going.
And a high pitch, so it's a walk for Uzawa. Freeman saves the energy, not going. And 2 on for Tyler Venesti. I'm sure Venesti would have liked his home run in this position rather than before, but
well, he's got another opportunity now to really put a dent in this lead.
And an opportunity here for the Beavers to chat with their pitcher, Graham Middleton. The tall righty has not looked himself in the latter half of this inning. Daphne will head back over to first in his fellow infielders will follow him. Middleton will wait for his catcher and Smith to get back behind the plate. And then he'll be challenged again by Tyler Vanesti. Carter Roth on deck, the part of the order you don't want to see when playing the Mavericks.
It's only one strike in the last 9 pitches. Last 10 pitches, only one strike. So Vanesi can kind of zone in here.
Nobody warming up for the Beavers, so Middleton will be out there for the considerable future. Vanesti swing and a miss as he gets tied up on that pitch. Checking on the ball there is Smith. He's going to exchange it.
I don't think Vanesti was trying to hit a single there. I think he was going yard. That was a vicious swing. And he had such a nice, easy swing his first at-bat.
Middleton, here comes the throw. Almost hit Vanesti. He's behind again. Lots of speed here, so even a base hit gives you the chance to potentially get 2.
Yeah, ball in the gap, you're easily going to score 2. If it gets by the outfielder, that is.
Vanesti's going to pop this one up, and Dale will look under it. Lost track of it, falling backwards, and then finds it at the last moment in his glove. So Vanesti unsuccessful at the plate this time with 2 on, and that'll send us to the 4th inning with the Beavers still in command, 4-1. And we're back here, top of the 4th inning, and Gary Dornan's day already done. Jesse Alfaro is up on the mound. Been really, really good in relief this year. Arguably the best option for the Mavs. He's pitched 6 and 2 innings, just allowed 4 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks to 10 strikeouts. He's even claimed a win in that time. He's given up just 1 extra base hit. Starts things off with a strike here. Bottom of the order for the Beavers. Chet McDaniel at the plate. Breaker Smith on deck. McDaniel behind 0-2. Handcuffed Chabot a bit. He'll get to it with a little bit of help from McDaniel. Alfaro hasn't pitched in a couple of games, so he'll have lots of time to work in this one. Swing and a miss. Alfaro with a strikeout, his 11th of the year, as he continues to trim through batters.
So the line score for Gary Dornan, 3 innings pitched, 5 hits, 4 runs. All 4 of them were earned runs. He struck out 2 and walked 2.
So it was short for Gary. He's
Well,
only gone 3 innings in both of his outings. So
17 years old. That's I think that's a good outing for a 17-year-old.
Couldn't imagine doing that myself as a 17-year-old. So all props to him. And Cesar Rodriguez out to talk with Alfaro here after just one throw towards this batter in Smith.
I think he might be hurting a little bit. Looked like he pulled something in his back shoulder.
And JT's heading out there as well. I think you got it right, Wayne.
Because they're warming up somebody quickly down in the bullpen. But if it's an injury, he's got all the time in the world to warm up. And that's Diego Centella down warming up.
And they are going to, I think they're going to take Alfaro out
Yeah.
for just one batter faced.
You could tell right after he was stretching his right back trapezius muscle. And it could be a side muscle as well.
That is wild that you knew exactly what muscle that is. Wayne, do you have a past life in the medical field?
I actually took kinesiology and biomechanics classes at university, so.
Well, that's impressive that you remember that. I took some kines classes. I can hardly remember the prof's name, so can't imagine you'd remember any of the content. Centella wasn't sure if he was going to pitch today, but he's in now. Bouncer there as Chabot put it aside, but it's been a good response for Diego after a first game that wasn't ideal. He's pitched in 3 this season, hasn't started any, has accumulated 4, just over 4 innings pitched. Allowed 6 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, and just 1 extra base hit with 2 earned runs to his name. I think Centella is ready to go. He gave the thumbs up, and we see Morrison moving backwards. A couple more throws here as he waits for, I believe, is McDaniel to get back in, or is that's Bryker Smith now? For Alfaro, obviously, we hope that he's okay and it isn't anything that spans out longer. And here comes Smith to face Centella. Diego out of Panama City, Panama. First pitch is a strike and a hot one in the direction of Smith.
So that'll even the count. There was 1 ball on the hitter.
Two strikes to begin the day for Centella. This one is fouled off. It was a high throw there from Centella. Head nod here from Chabot. Here it goes, and a low one as he tried to get Smith to chase. Another one trying to get him to chase and won't bite on that either. I think he might go back to the fastball here. It worked the first few times. And it does this time. Centella with a strikeout for out number 2. Top of the order now for the Beavers as it's Zach Tanabe. There's a couple of words exchanged between Brooks and Smith on Smith's way to the dugout. First pitch is held up there for a strike.
He's getting that curveball in for a strike, and then he's got a good fastball.
Miss on the right side. Here's one that's hammered in between the gap out of the reach of Uzawa, who's awfully speedy. It's a good hit off the bat of Tanabe. Noah Brooks heads to the plate. Centella still in a good spot. First pitch is a strike to Brooks.
Well, the one thing, he's working very quickly on the mound. He gets the ball back and he's ready to go. Tanabe hardly has a lead off at first base when Diego is ready to pitch.
There's one that catches the bottom half for a strike. Working ahead, working quick. Two things that can be best friends for a pitcher. One's low. And Chabot will call for a new ball. It's the one thing about these baseballs. Once they're done, they're done. They just become souvenirs after. This one popped up. Morrison was not sure where it was off the bat. It's way foul. He never would have had a play.
They don't use them for BP?
Once in a while, but if some of them are really banged up, they just toss them. But there's such a fine line between what is a good ball and what isn't, as Tanabe will steal second.
Yeah, Tanabe picked a great pitch to run on, a curveball in the dirt.
Two and two the count here. One man on second, 2 out. And it's 2-0 on the mound. Centella will wait for a second. Time is called. A low one again. Centella searching for that final out here in the top of the fourth. Mavericks don't want to let any more runs in here. This one's hit high, and it's got a chance to go. A good shot right at the wall, and the play is made by Volcano. We saw a similar hit that direction from Freeman yesterday, and it just stays in the park, and the Mavericks survive the top of the fourth inning.
Yeah, that ball looked like it could have a chance.
Couldn't get enough carry from the wind. And if you're carrying yourself into Medicine Hat at any point, Town Place Suites by Marriott carries the best hotel service. So stop in there and stay there when you are in town. Town Place Suites, the official hotel of the Medicine Hat Mavericks. We'll be back with the bottom of the fourth and Middleton back on the mound. Carter Roth will head off this bottom of the fourth inning. First pitch is a ball from Middleton, who's still out there. Nobody warming up for the Beavers. Of course, with Centella just entering the game for the Mavs, they don't have anybody getting warm either, not needing to. Here's Middleton. Will hit with a strike that time.
Mavs need to get something going. They're still stuck on one hit.
Ooh. Right at the shoulder of Roth as it goes by to the backstop. Roth has primarily been at second this year. Played that one game at shortstop otherwise. He's been a fixture in the cleanup spot as this one is smashed over into left field, and it's a base hit for Roth to start off the inning. He looks to keep his batting average up. League leader in batting average so far this year. Speaking of the league, let's take a look and see if we have any other updated scores going on. There's a mess going on right now in in Regina against Fort Mac. They were tied 10-10 with 2 grand slams happening in the game yesterday. And then once it was in the 7th, the game was delayed because of rain, and they moved it to today. So that game will finish out the first game that was supposed to be finished yesterday. They'll have a second game right after as Morrison fouls this one aside. And then apparently there's another game being played after that. It's not a WCBL game, but just a local game. So that ballpark is going to get lots of use today.
Well, they got water on it anyway, apparently.
One will drop down. Morrison takes it for a ball, and over in Okotoks it is 2-1 for the Dogs, who are the road team in that game as they're playing Energy City. It's the bottom of the fourth. Bottom of the third in Moose Jaw, who trail the Brooks Bombers 7-0. Moose Jaw was trailing in that game yesterday against them, and I believe they came back to win. And then in Fort Mac, Regina up 3-0 in the bottom of the third, and we will get what the result was from that game that carried over in a moment here.
So is Fort Mac up on Regina, did you say?
Regina, I believe, is up 3-0, unless I read that wrong, as Morrison will foul that aside. So, yes, Regina up 3. And the other game ended 12-10 for the Giants. So they won the first half of today's game that was carried over from the last half of yesterday's. Morrison, a swing and a miss, as he is not finding the ball at the moment. One out for the Mavs with one on. Aaron Volcano will take his turn. And with Regina losing to Fort Mac yesterday, that's big for both of these teams. They'll be aware of that, as Regina in the same division. Weyburn chasing them for a playoff spot as Volcano swings and misses. And Regina is right on the heels of the Mavs. They are 2 games back of them, but they play them next weekend, so they want to stay within range. Volcano, this one will just get over the stands. I can't imagine the commotion that would be if a ball went into the right stands with all the people there. There would be some fighting going on. A lot of ducking as well. Ooh, good play with the backhand there as catcher Smith lunged all the way out. Volcano is rung up. He takes his helmet off in frustration with a slow jaunt back to the Mavs dugout.
He's got a few words directed at the home plate umpire, but he's yelling them into, or saying them into the ground, which is going to allow him to stay in the game. He had a couple of those calls last night, too, that he was frustrated with that were on the outside part. That one was on the inside.
Here's Blake Dale. DHing today, takes a first pitch strike. With the leadoff man on, it has been quiet since. With just the second hit of the game for the Mavs. Dale, hot one into the hand of Middleton. That one will burn, but it'll feel a little bit better as the Beavers don't allow Roth to move forward. And this game will move forward into the top of the 5th inning when we come back. But first, let's take a quick look at a couple of the key pitching performers that were on the mound last night. We talked about it earlier in the game, but wanted to highlight it again. Danny Retzlaff, 5 innings with a 2 ERA, 8 strikeouts. He was dominant. And on the other end, going more innings was Dylan Parton and had a 4.09 ERA. It was that 6th inning that hurt him a bit in the stats department. And surprisingly, only 2 strikeouts. I would have thought he had way more, but it is what it is on the score sheet. And most importantly for Retzlaff and the rest of his crew, he came through with the win. And that has allowed the Mavs to have a little more breathing room today. But, of course, you want to win them all. We'll see if the Mavs can get back to their winning formula when we get back. They'll face the Beavers hitters soon. Centea gets a pop-up here. This one will go the extra mile, and it does get into the stands. But then it bounces out and down near the concourse level. A bunch of kids maneuvering their way over there in a hurry.
Yeah, there's 400 kids on that side, and kids from the other side of the stands are trying to run over there thinking that they have a chance. But that was a good pitch. Just missed.
1-1. They're going to check down at first here. He didn't go. Dale, swing and a miss on the speedster from Centea. Beavers have been leaving that off-speed pitch away alone today. It's the fastball that they've been chasing, and they haven't caught up to it. Centella, swing and a miss. So a strikeout here for Diego. So with one out, it's Braden Mayencourt. Ryan Daphne looming on deck. Mayencourt will foul that one backwards.
He didn't get cheated on that swing.
There's Johnny Volcano going out to do some work as a ball boy. It looked like they had a ball girl and then Volcano filling in the other role. Here's a high one, and Roth can't see it. This might be a tough play. Running in and sliding into it is Volcano. A last-ditch effort from Aaron Volcano. Not an easy out, claimed by the right fielder.
He ran a long way. It looked like Jeremy Freeman in center field didn't get a good jump on it or didn't see it. I think he was closer than Volcano, but Volcano got a great jump on it and covered a lot of ground.
And I think originally Roth thought that it was more of
Yes.
a pop-up, and it just carried its way out.
Well, you see how far Volcano is playing, how deep he is in right field. So let's get another out and get back in on the bats, boys.
One hopper into the belly of Chabot. Centella hasn't been behind in really any counts. He is this time as he gets a strike there to make it a little bit closer. Daphne has had his way with the Mavericks today. Wild miss there from Centella. When he's hit, he's really hit, but when he's missed, he's really missed.
Yeah.
And there's a walk to Daphne. Chabot will dust off the ball and send it back Centella's way. And for those of you who might have watched the first game of our season, if you're wondering why Centella's number is switched, he was wearing 42 before. Of course, that's the retired number in the MLB for Jackie Robinson, who broke many barriers in the game, and the Mavericks paying homage to that, and Centella doing so as well by moving his number to 20. That pitch is going to miss again.
Yeah, we got to find our way back into the strike zone.
High one. Well, Centella was handling his heat well early on. Now he's putting a little too much into it. Sacrificing location for speed. Here's the throw. This time it is on location. But he's still got to get two more. Force a error here from the batter, Alva. And Alva instead will go to first base, and it's on Centella.
Yeah,
and Rodriguez is coming out of the dugout here. He'll have a chat with him.
It was a good fake by Daphne. He faked as if he was going to steal, and it pulled Uzawa way out of shortstop position, but it was ball four anyway.
And nobody getting warm for the Mavs yet, but I do see Jaden Babiak down there getting his catcher's gear on, and he might be heading towards that bullpen pretty soon. There is some stretching going on in the background by a Gatorade cooler. I can't quite see who it is, just ahead from here. Two on here for the Beavers. They'd love to cash in. They've made the best of their opportunities today, and that is the difference.
Yeah, it's only 6 hits for the Beavers, but 4 runs on those 6 hits. And the Mavs only have 2 hits so far.
First pitch is a strike.
Kokatayo didn't like that. When he heard strike, he looked back over his shoulder.
Doesn't swing there, but gestured at the start was Kokatayo.
And you mentioned just a couple of minutes ago how they're laying off that curveball low and away. They aren't chasing that pitch. And they are forcing Diego to throw a lot of pitches.
Time is called here. Chabot had a loose buckle. And now he's ready to go, and so is Centella. Kokatayo wiggling the bat, waiting for something to come his way. And that one low from Centella. Become reluctant to use the fastball.
Yeah, he's got to challenge the hitters. He's got 7 guys out there that are going to help him out.
Low again this time.
Yeah. There's no defense for the walk, and another ball, and it'll be bases loaded on 3 walks in a row.
Garrick Levesque about to get warm. Centella, if the bases are loaded, will have to face it. Here's one into the glove and out of the glove of Uzawa. He got crossed up in it. A runner was speeding by him as well.
I think he might have got blinded by the runner in front of him. Oh, but that ball was hit hard, and we'll see whether that's a hit or an error. They're putting it up as an error to Uzawa.
Chet McDaniel, bases loaded, 2 out. Centella struggling here in the back half of his outing. Uzawa flips it over to Roth, and that will close the top of the 5th, so the Mavs get away with one. And really for the first time in this game, the Beavers unable to convert with runners on the base path. Not a theme we've seen often, but it gives the Mavs a chance here, down 3. Still lots of ball to be played, but the Bats, they have to get going and quick for Medicine Hat. Jamel Chabot with his second plate appearance of this game. I think that Wayne forgot to close the door over there because that was a loud boom from the PA announcer. In-house here, Adam. First pitch is a strike to Chabot. Nobody warming up for the Beavers. Nice for them to get two great starts in back-to-back games, similar to what we saw from the Mavericks before today.
Well, Middleton has been throwing a great game so far, limiting the Mavs to only 2 hits, and they only run a solo home run.
Yeah, that was Venesti early on in the first. Ooh. Haircut there for Chabot. Speaking of haircuts, Luis Diaz a couple days ago was giving out free haircuts to his teammates. At least Graham Stack is who I saw down there getting his haircut in the maintenance garage here at Athletic Park.
He wasn't being held down, was he?
I don't believe so.
Okay, it's just, is he a hairstylist or a barber?
Well, he said he cuts hair all the time, and he had a bunch of tools with him. So
yeah, good for him.
A couple of razors and a nice pair of scissors. Yeah, I don't think he was trying to show off that he was cutting hair because it was tucked away, but, I mean, they weren't trying to hide it.
Well, if you've got the tools, obviously, like barbers' tools are not cheap.
And Chabot will not get first base. Instead, he will get a seat back on the bench. Dvorak up with 1 out. And, you know, the best types of games for pitchers are games that are eventless. And this one for Middleton is exactly that.
Yes, yeah, there hasn't been any pressure on him at all with base runners. We've only had 1 inning with 2 base runners on.
First pitch to Dvorak is a strike. There's a foul off by Micah. Pitch on the way from Middleton. It's a bouncer that's short.
You know, it's amazing with the 2 pitchers we saw last night and today that Weyburn only has 2 wins so far because these guys have really pitched well.
Well, and there are 3 pitchers that have been named All-Stars in seasons past. We haven't seen this one going to bounce off the mitt of Alva, and it's a hit there for Dvorak.
Yeah, that should be a hit. That ball was scorched, had a lot of spin on it, so it is a hit for Dvorak.
Now the Mavs will have the top of their order. Jeremy Freeman, then Yusei Uzawa. And I mentioned those 3 pitchers that are all-stars that the Mavs haven't seen. Owen McConnell is one of them out of UBC. Jared Eifler, he was an all-star all the way back in 2022. He's back with the Beavers again. And of course, Ian Heck, who we did see as a hitter. He's a 2-way player, for those who missed the chat about it on the broadcast yesterday, as this one hit over the head of Alva at second, and now Dvorak over at second, Freeman at first, and the Mavs are in business.
Well, we need a productive bat from UC now. Let's just keep passing the baton. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if UC doesn't put down a bunt here. Third baseman is playing even up, but with UC speed.
He's going to take a swing there and foul that back. Yeah, he hasn't shown that he's been opposed to putting down a bunt.
No, he has shown it. And I think when he's been asked to bunt, he's put it down. But we've also saw him hit the gap in left center and right center. He's got that power as well.
Zawa, swing and a miss. You say we'll wait on the pitch, but he's behind. Tyler Venesti waiting on deck. Couldn't convert with a couple of runners on last time he was at the plate. This one's going to be through the gap between second and first. Dvorak's being waved in. The throw is going to be short, and Dvorak will make this a 4-2 ball game. It's an RBI single for Yusei Uzawa.
Boy, Noah Brooks in right field is laboring with his throwing. I noticed earlier that he came up and he just lobbed the ball in. And this time, same thing. He's got nothing on us for velocity from right field, because he did have a chance to throw Dvorak out at home, but just has no velocity with his throws.
You can see him bent over a bit there.
Yeah.
Don't want to speculate anything, but yeah, that throw didn't go very far and didn't go at a high speed. There's a pitcher warming up now for the Beavers as they have a chat with Middleton, who away from this inning has looked excellent.
Well, and we wanted a productive bat out of UC, and that's exactly what he delivered.
Still just the one out with Venesti up. Beavers will be looking for a double play. It'll be tough to double up with all the great speed from the Mavs.
Well, and if I'm the Mavs, I'm going to try to stay out of the double play. I'm going to let UC run. The counter to that is you take away the big hole between first and second with him staying at first.
First pitch is a ball. Venesti's shown that he can get to Middleton. Not many Mavs have here.
And if you have UC at second, a single by Venesti ties the game. There he goes.
And you're right, Wayne. And not able to get it to his throwing hand was the catcher, Smith. He stumbled as soon as that ball came towards him. So Venesti has a favorable count. Double play is out of effect, and he's got two of the fastest runners ahead.
Well, and definitely a great count for Venesti. But they might try to pitch around him, too, get him to chase something, because walking him isn't going to really hurt them.
Till you stare down Carter Roth, a batter later.
Yeah, well, you got a chance for a double play, and it looked like they are pitching around him. That pitch wasn't even close to the strike zone. So do you give Venesti the green light on 3-0? I would. He's batting in the 3-hole for a reason. Oh. He could have juiced that one out of here, I think.
Well, that swing that almost knocked him off his feet earlier,
Yeah.
If he would have done that there and made contact, that ball would never have been found.
Good take.
And an aggressive throw over the bat there from Venesti. He wanted to be challenged. Carter Roth, bases loaded. Beavers got one warming.
Yeah, this is a great place for the Mavericks to be in. And, you know, the fans have got to be appreciating. Here's the Mavs inning. We still only have 5 hits, only 2 runs, but boy, a single here and we tie the game.
I'm sure for lots of these fans, they had this date marked on their calendar because their kids were already coming and get the whole family out. And I'm sure they've been hearing a lot about the Mavs' success. Now they're wanting to see it.
Yes, you're exactly right on that.
Here's the chance to convert. Roth He's going to send this one, and it'll get in between the gap. Freeman comes in to score. Uzawa will hold, and the throw's going to get by. Here comes Yusei into the plate, and the ball game is tied at 4. Initially, there was a hold on, and Smith had that one get out of his grasp.
Well, a bad throw, but no coverage by the pitcher. Again, the pitcher had to dodge that throw. And the pitcher should be way behind home plate, backing up the catcher on that. And the pitcher never even got out of the infield. So after you throw the ball, you become an infielder, and you got to cover.
Yeah, that's from the Garrett Cole School for covering by a pitcher. Saw that in the World Series last year with a terrible play at first base.
So the Mavs have a chance to take the lead. Morrison is due. Roth will get a single and only 1 RBI on that because the second run came in on the throw.
And the scoreboard up top says 4-3 in-house, but I believe we're correct at 4-4.
Yeah, it is 4-4. 6 hits apiece, each team with 1 error. That should be an error there.
Morrison hasn't been met with a pitch that he likes in this at-bat.
Well, he's got to stay patient. He's got to be like Venesti. You know, it's not up to you all of the time to get that hit.
Ooh, he was looking to throw the bat away, and the count didn't even have 3 balls on it yet. I think he lost track of where he was at.
Yeah, he did have 3 balls on him.
And a swing and a miss there.
I've got a count of 3-2, and that's what the umpire has. The score clock says 2-2, but the count is 3-2.
Morrison, a swing and a miss. It has not been his day. It hasn't been his weekend either.
No, again, we just needed contact. The infield was playing back. A ball to the outfield scores a run. A ground ball scores a run.
Aaron Volcano now a chance to give the Mavs the lead.
Well, and Aaron was frustrated last at bat with that third call strike, so he just has to come back and have a good at bat.
There's a bouncer. Creeping his way in there was Venesti, but not enough to make a full charge. The Beavers must just be kicking themselves right now after the way that last night's game ended and the way that this game has been tied. Been off of a hit by pitch and a wild throw. Here's one that's cracked, and under it in center field looked promising to start. The play is made by Chet McDaniel. You can't punch a ball any harder than Volcano just did. This game, though, 4-4 thanks to a 3-run inning from the Mavericks. They do, however, leave 2 stranded. Plenty of ball game to be played, following a similar plot to what we saw just a night ago. And if it follows that, it should be a good one till the close. Bryker Smith will headline this top of the 6th inning in a tie ball game here in Medicine Hat. First pitch is in the dirt from Centea. He's still out there. We'll see how long. As there is a reliever warming up for the Mavericks. Looks like a lefty down there, Garrick Levesque, who's had a real nice start to this year. Here's one that's going to go foul. A Seagull almost got hit by it as ran into traffic at the very end there.
Not to be deterred, he saw something that he wanted to pick up from the ground.
And it was not that foul ball, unfortunately.
No.
Could have saved the bat boy some steps. One and two count here between Centea and Smith. Along the ground, Roth is going to get it in the dustpan and play it over to Morrison at first for out number 1. So Centea's future on the mound in this game is in his hands. If he keeps chugging through batters like he just did, he'll go for the rest of the inning. But if there's any sign of going away from that, he'll be making an exit.
And what they wanted out of him and Alfaro was just to come in and stop the momentum, and that's exactly what they've done. If they can get through this inning, that'll be 3 scoreless innings. And that's allowed the Mavericks to come back, put up a crooked number, and tie the game.
One along the ground. Uzawa is to it. And a hard throw to first. It had Morrison leaning, but he makes the play. And good job by Morrison to know where he was at and keep his foot planted firmly on the bag. So 2 outs already. And if Centea can get through this inning, that sets up real well for the entrance that Levesque is going to make, because Levesque has pitched 3 innings in, I think, all 2 or 3 of his relief appearances.
So he's our 3-inning specialist, late game 3-inning specialist.
There's a strike from Centea.
I imagine the lineups are quite long at the concession.
Yeah, it's a fight for food. Not a food fight. We don't want to have any of those here.
Yeah.
Swing and a miss. Diego Centea with a spectacular inning. And what's going on here?
I think it's only a full count. Or 2-2, rather.
Well, me and Chabot were keeping track of the same count because I was walking off just like he was.
Well, let's just make it one more pitch then. Oh.
And the count runs full.
Fans
and
are getting
Centea's
on
not
the home
happy with
plate
that one. He's having a couple of words.
Yeah, home plate umpire fans are getting on him for that missed call, but it looked up.
Foul back.
That was a hanging curveball. Brooks just missed that.
Full count again. Centea, swing and a miss as he gets the job done. And his bench is hyped up for him. Look at the celebration from Danny Retzlaff as he charges out onto the green grass. Emphatic. What a response from Centea after a tricky inning. And he comes back with a powerful punch. Not sure we'll see him again, but what a way to end the day for Diego. Wayne was walking away while he was mentioning that, but they are going to make a pitching change for the next inning. So Levesque will be coming in. There's JT out there talking with the ump, and looks like a change has been made for Weyburn as well. We'll let their new pitcher get warm and be back with his stats and a little bit of a bio on what he's all about. So Johnny Volcano, we thought he might get this day to rest as well, but he's off the bench and into play here in the DH spot. Blake Dale's day is over, and first pitch is fouled off by Johnny. Sure, he's excited to get back out there knowing the competitor that he is. And in the tie ball game, this is the guy that you want to see at the plate if you're Medicine Hat. Pitches for a ball, and on the mound is Isaiah Granado from Whitman College. No relation to one of the greatest women's hockey players ever in Cami Granado.
And her brother.
This one is sent over into right, and Brooks doesn't have a read on it. He gets it on the end of his glove. He was shielding his face at the last second there. I wasn't sure if he was going to make that play. Jamel Chabot up to bat. Has not reached today. First pitch is high here from Granado. I believe Granado was warming up yesterday at one point and was never brought into the game. There's a strike to Chabot. Chabot, Morrison, and Aaron Volcano. It's been a tough day for all three of them.
Yeah, that part of our batting order hasn't been on base yet. Our Morrison, Volcano, and Blake Dale. And if you go down, Chabot hasn't been on base, and Dvorak has got one single and a run scored. So the bottom five of our order has only got one hit today and only been on base once.
Here's a throw from Granado. And did he go? He did. So Chabot, another strikeout today. A messy day at the plate for Jamel.
Yeah, it's a hat trick.
Micah Dvorak will return to the plate. Opposite side from where Chabot was parked up. 2 outs here. It's a good charge early on for Granado. This Weyburn pitching crew is certainly not the problem.
No, not at all. That's a great point.
This one off the foot of Dvorak. We'll try and walk it off. Dvorak still wiggling his ankle. Dvorak almost limp-like back into the box.
There's only one thing that cures that, and that's good old time. Not the spice either.
That was really good. There's a ball to Dvorak.
That was a great take.
Yeah, Dvorak not forcing it. Dvorak, oh, that one is just mush, but foul. Not very high off the ground either, but just smoked.
Yeah, the launch angle was about 2 degrees on that, wasn't it? It wasn't much of a launch angle.
Not at all. Dvorak, a springing foul towards left, a hop into the, ooh, that one went right inside of the bar down there, I believe, through the window, heads up.
Put it on the grill.
You're cooking today, Wayne.
Make it well done.
Dvorak, another one fouled.
He's having a good at-bat. Anything close, he's fouling off, and he's waiting for one that is going to be right down Broadway.
One down to the ground from Granado. Get a new one. Is that one covered in dirt?
And it's really tough to lay off that pitch when you've been swinging at other pitchers that are close to that one and just fouling them off. And as a hitter, you have a tendency that I want to swing at that, but great take by Micah Dvorak.
Yeah, the ability to differentiate that
Yes.
is remarkable. And Dvorak gets a walk.
Great at bat.
Comes Jeremy Freeman. And Freeman doesn't have a home run yet this year. I know we talked about it yesterday. But he can be a home run hitter.
Yeah.
He feels as though he has the power to go long.
I think his first hit of the year was off the wall about 3/4 of the way up in right center, which is a long way for a right-handed hitter.
And had that one yesterday in a big moment that was real close. That one hit the bottom of the wall.
Yeah. Dvorak has a good lead at first.
Slide back that way.
that ball bounce? I didn't think it bounced,
not
but
sure.
the catcher reacted like it was in the dirt.
It was a
And then he
late
caught it
reaction.
up here.
Count is 1-1. Freeman. This one is going to get into center field. Dvorak over to second, and the Mavs make sure that the Beavers aren't able to close out this inning quite yet. And this is how their last rally started, with 2 outs.
It exactly did.
It's not how you draw it up, but you'll take it however. So Yusei Uzawa, 1 runner in scoring position, 2 on. But with Freeman's speed, you might as well consider him in scoring position over at first.
That's a good point.
Here's the throw. Uzawa up through center field. Here comes Dvorak. He'll round third. He will get in to score. It is a 5-4 Mavericks lead, and Yusei Uzawa with an RBI single.
Great piece of hitting. Hit it right back up the middle. Dvorak on the go, knowing where the center fielder was, and there was no throw.
Down 4-1, the Mavs have crawled their way back to take the lead. Still lots of ball to be played, and still a chance here in the bottom of the 6th for Tyler Vanesti. Vanesti, a swing and a miss on the first pitch. Mavs hit total up to 8 now.
I think we only had 10 last night, didn't we?
That one just called a strike as it crawls on that half of the plate.
Vanesti not impressed with that call.
Vanesti batting .336 prior to this game with 13 RBIs. It's tied for the team lead with Micah Dvorak, also near the top of the league in RBIs. Here's a hot one. Good play by Smith to knock it down.
Looked like it might have hit Vanesti, and that's what Freeman was doing, but good thing he didn't commit. Catcher made a very good play.
Here comes the throw. Vanesti, a swing and a miss. Big time from Granado. The Mavs going to leave 2 stranded, but they do get 1 in to take a 5-4 lead after the Beavers had a 4-1 lead earlier in this game. It is so tight here at Athletic Park as we enter the 7th inning, and all the fans that have come out today, they'll be staying in the stands as this game progresses towards the finish line. Trevor Dale, who was the Mavs' biggest enemy last night. And he gave the Beavers the lead on 2 separate occasions. He is in here with his team down. Nobody on the base path, so the most he can do it in this at-bat is tie it. But the Beavers would take that. Garrick Levesque into the game. As the lefty gets his day started. He's been really, really good this season. Currently with a 4.05 ERA, but that doesn't tell the story. 7 strikeouts on the year, just to 3 walks. And he's given up 6 runs, but only 3 of them earned. This one fouled over the park.
And that's what we need, is just pepper that zone with strikes.
Levesque, here comes the dealing, and it is high. Chabot's seen a lot of bodies on the mound today. Started off the game with Dornan, had Alfaro for 4 pitches, was it? And then Centella, now Levesque.
Well, Alfaro got the first out of the inning, and then 1 more pitch.
And that one is dropped in the stands.
An error.
And a kid in a Blue Jay shirt flexing in his friend's face. After grabbing that one down below. He's pumped up. He's got his hands in the air still. Count is full here. It's a foul tip. We've seen just about everybody in the Beavers lineup player-wise this weekend. The only one we have not seen, well, 2 we haven't seen, are Tyron Dorrance, who's a fine infielder, or outfielder rather, as this one's going to make its way into the outfield. It's a base hit for Dale. And then Eli Hansen, the other, and he's listed on the roster as other, so I assume that he's a pitcher and a hitter. He's right next to Ian Heck. Not sure if he's with the team yet. Still a 0 next to his name.
That's Dale's 3rd hit of the day.
He's going to love coming back to Athletic Park later in the season. Ooh.
He's one of those guys that in big league or major leagues you trade for, because you don't want him hurting you all the time.
Two misses by Levesque. You could see the frustration as he gestured something towards home plate right after, not hitting his spot. Now a meeting between him and Chabot quickly. Umpire will head out to separate them. Two balls, no strikes. Dale over on first. Mayencourt looking to do some damage.
Well, let's get a ground ball and do some damage defensively.
This one will be grounded foul. Nobody warming up on either side. Mavs scoring 4 runs in the last 2 innings. And the Beavers, their total has come to a screeching halt. They haven't scored any in the last 3.
Well, we definitely don't need a walk here.
And it's called a strike. Not a fan of that call is Mayencourt.
Yeah, he's been calling that pitch a strike all day, and I know Mayencourt may not have liked it, but he's also been the catcher, knowing that they've been getting that call. I think the umpires have done a very good job today.
Here's one up the middle. Could be 2. Roth is going to sprawl out for it and have it in and out of his glove. Thought he might have been closer to that off the hit.
Yeah, tough play. That'll be a hit. So that evens the hits at 8 apiece. Back-to-back singles this game, or this inning.
I'd be interested to see if we went back and looked at it, how his jump was on that play, if he maybe slipped off the start, because
I think the ball might have been hit a little harder than we saw too, because it looked like he was going to get to it, and then he had to actually leave his feet to get to it.
So 2 on behind Levesque. First pitch is a strike, and that's that one we talked about before, right at the top corner.
So corners are going to play in. Doesn't look like they're going to bunt, but
this one is going to get in and out of the glove of Morrison at first. He'll get the first out here. Had a tough time handling one that wasn't hit very hard.
no, it had lots of spin on it because it was right off the end of the bat. That was the only play Morrison was going to have anyway.
2 in scoring position, the tying run over at third, the leading run over at second. And Levesque in a tough spot with just the 1 out.
I'm surprised our infield isn't coming in, but when you do come in, then any ball by you is going to be 2 runs rather than just 1.
High throw for ball 1. Evening the count is Levesque. 1 pitcher warming up for the Mavericks. Can't quite see who it is down there. It is a righty. This one's going to be hit through the gap. Good hit there from Alva. And this game is tied at 5 apiece.
Yeah, he just went with that pitch, hit it into the 5-6 hole gap.
And JT is peeking out onto the dirt. He's going to retreat back into the dugout, so Levesque will get to face the next batter, and that's Kokatayo.
Well, now the defense has to know what are they going to do if Alva takes off for second. First and third defense. Weyburn haven't attempted many stolen bases at all in these 2 games. I only recall 1.
Yeah, their leader in stolen bases only has 5, and that's Brooks.
There he goes.
This one is going to be put, and it's going to drop fair.
Double him off.
And back to first, they get a double play. Unconventional as can be. The Mavs make it happen and keep this game tied at 5, but an important base hit for Alva to square it at 5, and the Beavers are right back into this. And as we're in the middle of the 7th inning, of course, it's time for one of our featured segments, and on Sunday it's about streaks, records, and the hottest players in the WCBL. Let's take a look at a couple of them. One of them playing in today's game, that's Carter Roth in the infield. 20 hits on the year. Of course, this graphic made prior to today's game, so these numbers may not be exactly on point anymore. 20 hits on the year, 7 batted in, 0 home runs is the most interesting stat, but he's been red hot. League leader in batting average. And on the other side, Timo Arasena from the Energy City Cactus Rats. Also an infielder. He's got 14 hits on the season. Same amount of runs batted in as Roth. High in the batting average department. Also 0 home runs. So if you're looking for good contact hitters who have been red hot this week and even beyond that, these are two that stand out amongst the WCBL's best. And Arasena, an all-star last year when he was with the Edmonton Prospects, so this isn't new to him, playing at a high level. And as the Beavers get ready to go here, those in the crowd will stretch out during this 7th inning. Wayne joining in with them. And I believe we still got the same pitcher on the mound in Granado. And coming up for the Mavs once this game is over today, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, they will have an off day tomorrow and then be off to play Saskatoon twice in a row. Sask, believe they're playing the Swift Current 57s, or they played the Swift Current 57s before. They got a win last night. They're rolling, maybe the hottest team in the WCBL at the moment, and it'll be a battle. It might be a preview of the East Division final come playoff time. They'll be in Swift Current to play them on Thursday, and then back here to play Okotoks on Friday. And then Saturday, Sunday, a duel with Regina, another 2-game series. Second time we've seen that this year. Both occurrences in Regina. And some discussion here between the umps. Interested to see what this is about, Wayne.
Not sure.
Everybody waiting patiently. And everybody's on the same page.
Well, they gave no signal to the Mavs dugout. They must have been asking about something, and they got together, the umpires, and home plate umpire gave kind of a safe signal, which is no.
So Carter Roth will now get a chance to bat. And while he faces off against Granado, we'll also fill you in on some of the other action in the WCBL. This one is going to just squeak through the gap in between third and second. Boy, we've seen lots of hits over there today.
Well, that's Roth's third hit of the day. But after Roth, we have been getting nothing from the rest of our lineup until you get to the number 9 hitter, Dvorak. Our 5, 6, 7, and 8 hitters haven't been on base yet.
Now, I think back for Morrison to and mention this game yesterday as well, when he hit a walk-off against Moose Jaw here. All game long he'd struggled, but it was one hit that changed his entire day around, and he comes up to the plate here looking to do the exact same.
Well, I like what they're doing is they're getting him to sack bunt. You know, move the runner to scoring position. And Morrison, as we know, can run, so it'll have to be a good play by the third baseman.
Squeaking out of the way, and Roth didn't have a clear angle to see where the ball was at, and he couldn't get to second.
Yeah, it was a delayed off the glove, and it didn't go very far, so good decision to stay at first.
Good count here from Morrison. See if he goes back into the bunt stance. He does. And this one's going to be put down, a slow roller, and they're going to say that this is...
It's dead.
Dead, wow.
Yeah. It hit Morrison when it came up, and he was still in the batter's box, so it's just a foul ball.
You got a better angle than I do, so glad you caught the end of that there.
Had he been out of the batter's box, he would have been out. But because he was still in the batter's box, the ball hit him in fair territory. It's foul.
Morrison out to bunt again. This one goes behind him, and that plan will be kiboshed.
Yeah, that pitch didn't look to be like a strike. And as a hitter, when you're sack bunting, you're only going to bunt strikes. And you don't have to hurry to get out of the batter's box. Just put down the perfect bunt and run. But he can still have a productive at bat.
They'll check on Roth at first. High one to Morrison. Full count.
Now, if Morrison was making contact more often, you'd send the runner. But because he's struck out consistently the last couple of games, you're taking a chance by having the runner go because it could be a strikeout, throw him out.
And the runner is going to go. Morrison's going to pound this one, and it's going to be caught. They might do the same thing the Mavs just did.
Yep.
They're going to double up Roth. Right back at you. Go the Beavers. Great call there, Wayne, too. You saw it from a mile away.
Well, I didn't see that happening again, but yeah, it was a double play. Ouch.
I don't think Aaron Volcano would have predicted that nobody would be on when he made his way to the plate.
Well, now he can start something.
High one is ball one. And as promised, we'll flip through a couple of those games around the WCBL. Okotoks currently losing to Energy City, and because it's really complicated, we're just going to say at home. It's 4-2. Brooks has extended their lead to 10-0 as there's a strike to Volcano that catcher Smith couldn't hang on to. 10-0 against Moose Jaw in Moose Jaw's Park. And Regina with a 7-3 lead trying to get some revenge for the Giants beating them earlier today, 12-10. It's 7-3. And between Sask and Swift, who are playing today in a little bit of a later game, it's 0-0, but only in the bottom of the first. Volcano won't chase.
How often do you see a 9-3 double play in back-to-back innings?
Never.
That's uncanny.
Add that to the bingo card of strange happenings. Somebody make a highlight reel for us up here. Good spot here for Volcano.
And he's got a couple of dingers this year. He's got the power to hit it out.
Here comes the throw from Granado. Ooh, almost scraped the side of Volcano. He would have had first base either way. It wouldn't be a clutch situation without Johnny Volcano coming to the plate.
And Johnny doesn't like to wait long with the bat on his shoulders. He likes to attack the first pitch or the second pitch.
Long wait here from Granado. Here comes the throw. It's mishandled by Smith, but not far enough away for Volcano to think about running to second. Granado. Not the fastest moving pitcher as he eyes down Johnny. This one's going to be popped up right into the sun. Should be a play there for Daphne, and he will make it with no sweat. The Mavs with a couple of opportunities there, but none of them come true. And the inning highlighted by a 9-3 double play off of an Evan Morrison flyout to start. We will be back with the 8th inning right around the corner. Beavers will have Chet McDaniel up as the first batter here in the top of the 8th inning. So they're near the bottom of their order. We will see Zach Tanabe, the leadoff hitter, be the third batter to face Barrientos, who, should mention, new pitcher in the game, Luke Barrientos on the mound. This one's going to be a grounder into his glove, and a slow toss to Morrison at first will get the job done for out number 1.
We knew we had a good crowd here today, but the attendance is 2,388 fans. Great turnout for the Mavs Sunday afternoon game.
Well, you called it. You said it was going to be in the twos.
Yeah, I thought it would be about 2,100, 2,200, but 2,388, just about 2,400 fans is a great day for the Mavs. And the 50-50, which I didn't win again, is $2,150.
Swing and a miss there. Barrientos against Bryker Smith. Weyburn will be coming up with a game plan on the fly. Their first time seeing Barrientos, and Bryker Smith already knows what to do as he drives that one into left. This is what Weyburn wanted. Get one of the two guys in the bottom of your order on, flip it over to Tanabe and Brooks and Dale at the top half. Chabot wanted that one checked on over at first. Call was no swing, so it's ball 1. Barrientos a throw back to first. He'll check on Bryker Smith. Smith with no stolen bases on the season. Hasn't attempted one either. There's a strike from Barrientos that gets a swing alongside it. Another check on Smith at first. And that's actually not Smith at first. That's Ian Heck. So they've brought in a pinch hitter. It wasn't announced here.
No, we don't get those changes, do we?
And no wonder he got on. It's Ian Heck. He was taken out of the game last night and would have had a chance to hit in the extra inning as Barrientos with a strikeout for out number 2. But they put Alva in for him yesterday so that Alva could run. And then they would have had Ian Heck up with runners on. And it was Alva at the plate instead. And who knows? If the Mavs see Ian Heck instead yesterday, they may not have won it. First pitch of ball here for Barrientos.
Josiah Mendoza is throwing lightly in the Beavers bullpen.
There's a swing and a chop foul backwards from Noah Brooks.
And now he's starting to heat up.
Waiting on deck is Trevor Dale, the Maverick killer. There's a strike to Brooks.
Oof.
Barrientos 1 strike away from exiting the top of the 8th.
I think the umpire said the count is 2-2, but I only have a 1-2.
And the clock up top as well. In-house only says 1-2.
Yeah, it's 1-2.
I think he just looked over towards the Mavs dugout to confirm that as well. Looked like they had questions. Barrientos was trying to get a chase from Brooks on that pitch.
Good pitch, good take.
Ooh. Scary throw back towards first. It was a bouncer. It almost caught Heck, I think, at the end there.
Yeah.
Maybe it did. Gets away from Barrientos, and it's a full count.
Morrison is playing behind Heck, so Heck will get a good running lead.
Here comes the throw. Barrientos, a swing and a miss from Brooks. Big time stuff from Luke Barrientos. First batter was on, or second batter was on rather, and from there it was cruise control for Luke. The Mavs, they get some runs in this next inning. Could be a chance to close it out. We'll see when we come back. So Robert Gurney into the game behind the plate for the Beavers. Jamel Chabot up to bat for the Mavericks. We're not sure if Ian Heck hithers anywhere else in the game, but he might be out there.
Well, he came in for their catcher Smith, and now Gurney is in.
Makes sense. And no pitching change yet. It's still Isaiah Granado on the mound. Low one to Chabot.
Well, we need to get a leadoff hitter on.
Dvorak is waiting on deck.
And Chabot has not had a day that he would like to remember with 3 strikeouts. So he wants to at least make contact and run. There
And
it
he
is.
does make contact. That one straight up into center.
There it is.
Hit right on the nostrils. The sound that one made was pleasing not only to the fans here, but I'm sure to Chabot, who was squeezing tight for one to come today. And Mendoza's going to come in here now. He's warming up all last inning, and that'll be the day for Granado.
Well, you got the left-handed batter up as well, although I don't think it's going to matter because I'm pretty sure that they'll have Dvorak bunt, even though he's our top RBI guy. This is a classic bunt situation.
And then after him will be Freeman and Yusei Uzawa. And Uzawa started to flash the clutch factor the last couple of games.
Yeah,
he's not afraid of the moment.
Certainly his last 2 at-bats, he's had a single and an RBI each time.
And while Mendoza gets warm, might as well take a look at what our featured community / university is in that segment. And tonight we're going to stick with a community, Weyburn, Saskatchewan. Hometown of Tyler Van Este, population just over 12,000. It's the 9th largest city in Sask, the fastest growing municipality in Sask. So it's taken off in the last couple of years. Its original name was Diamond because of intersection, which I have up top here, which is shaped in a diamond, but later changed to Weyburn. It's the birthplace of NHL player Ed Dick. That was the only notable alumni, and I wasn't even quite sure who that was. Says he played for the Vancouver Canucks. He was a goalie. Wayne is gesturing over here. And as of recently, they now have an SJHL team, which is the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. The Weyburn Wolverines were announced. They'll be playing next year. So awesome for that community to get a hockey team.
Well, that was the old Notre Dame Hounds, isn't it?
I do believe the Notre Dame Hounds played there.
Wilcox, Saskatchewan, because really there's nothing around Wilcox, and Weyburn is just outside of Saskatoon, and they'll draw well there. It's actually a suburb of Saskatoon, although has its own municipality. But hey, good old Weyburn and Tyler Van Este.
And Micah Dvorak to bat. And we knew he was going to go for the bunt. That one pops up, and he's fortunate that pops up and goes over the screen and doesn't stay in the field of play.
We have not executed the bunt well today, have we? Morrison tried it earlier and couldn't get it down. I think Dvorak knows right now. Just put it down.
He's holding it out ahead of time. Bunted towards the pitcher. They're going to try and go to second here, and scrambling around was Chabot. He thought about third as the ball got by. Probably the right play to stop, and no outs here for the Beavers as the Mavericks look to be caught in a sticky situation.
So pinch runner at second base.
And that'll be Jaden Babiuk. He's often at the top of the list for pinch runners. At least he was last year. That might change with Freeman and Uzawa if they're ever on the bench, which so far this year neither have been.
So I'm not the official scorekeeper, and we keep reminding you, but I would have given Dvorak a sack bunt on that. And I would also give an error to the pitcher, and I think you can give both.
Freeman, no outs, one in scoring position. He's going to lay down a firm bunt.
Good
and
bunt.
They're going to go back to first here. They almost didn't get Freeman with a low throw. A sneaky play there from Jeremy Freeman Jr. puts two in scoring position. And Yusei Uzawa at the plate. This is a dream scenario for the Mavs. And now there's going to be a chat here with Mendoza. There is a pitcher warming up for the Beavers.
Well, last night in extra innings, they intentionally walked the bases loaded. And it came back to hurt them in the fact that it was hit by a pitch that scored the winning run. However, it's not the bottom of the ninth. It's only the bottom of the eighth. Usawa's had two great at-bats, his last two at-bats, both times a hit and both times an RBI.
Weyburn has a pitcher warming up down there wearing the number 8. On our official stat sheet over here, we do not have a number 8, so we'll be taking a guess unless there's been an adjustment made on the web page. And from what I can see, at least on our end, there is nobody listed on their roster wearing the number 8. So it could be anybody who's wearing a 0. That could be Eli Hansen, Sutter Balog, Jared Eifler, Jackson Henderson, Ty Thompson. Take your pick.
So infield is in.
Uzawa blasted over into right field. Babiuk will come in to score, and the Mavs lead by 1. And a bare hand play at the end of that by Gurney.
Usawa, another RBI, another hit. He's been clutch for the Mavs today.
And now the Mavs will be 3 outs away from 2 tightrope wins here against this Beavers team.
Well, and now you got Venesti up, and he's going to want to atone for his last at-bat where he struck out with runners in scoring position.
First pitch is a strike to Venesti.
I like that Reed held up Dvorak at third base. Even though we know that the right fielder's arm isn't that strong, he did throw one hopper.
And Uzawa's going to go. I think it caught Gurney off guard, and he's safe. Sliding in around the backside. And you can tell by the reaction there from Tanabe, he thought he maybe had him. So now Venesti with a chance to drive 2 in here, give the Mavs some insurance. Count is 1-1 to him.
And in the catcher's defense, with a left-handed hitter up, it's sometimes tough to know when the runner is going.
Mendoza back onto the rubber. Venesti, hot one, through the glove, it's short. Tanabe couldn't corral it, and Dvorak's in to score. I think that one could be an error.
You know what? I was going to say, I think that should be a hit.
Ooh.
Because I think that had topspin on it, and Tanabe went out to grab it, and I think it, with the topspin on it, it just went right underneath his glove. But I'm not sure. It looks like they have given him a hit on that. And you got to remember, he had to leave his feet for that. So it's not, usually an error is on a play where you have reasonable effort. And anytime you have to leave your feet, it's not reasonable effort.
Mendoza will throw over to first here. Carter Rowe, 3 hits today. But boy, would he like 4. Because that means that Uzawa's coming in. It's going to advance Venesti. There's one tipped backwards.
So we don't have anybody warming up in the bullpen, so we're going to assume that our pitcher is back on the mound for the 9th.
Yeah, Luke Barrientos will get the call.
No Dahl today. AJ?
He closed it out last night. Here's Roth. That's a high looping one into foul territory, and watch out down there.
It's amazing kids don't get hit down there, isn't it?
Well, Mama Dot, who's been a host here for years, is down there right now, and she had to duck out of the way, although she's got eyes on the back of her head. That's the last person I'd be worried about down there.
Is she giving out treats down there?
I wouldn't be surprised. She's always making something. A jack of all trades and also a master of all trades.
Still only 1 away for the Mavs.
Here's Roth in between the gap. Yusei won't have to use up his energy as he's in to score. The Mavs with a 3-run lead here put on late in the game, and that'll do it for Mendoza. And Weyburn potentially just let another one get away. Is that the story of their season so far? So we have a mystery pitcher coming into the game who dons the number 8. I guess we'll do a bit of an investigation while he warms up and see if we can figure out who is indeed on the mound. While we do that, Also take one last look around the WCBL here. It's 4-4 in the bottom of the ninth in Okotoks between the Dogs and the Cactus Rats, so all tied there after the Dogs had a lead for most of the game. Top of the ninth in Moose Jaw, it's 10-2 for the Bombers, so looks like they are about to bring that one home. And 1-1 over in Swift Current between the Berries and the 57s. And the Regina Red Sox do indeed win 7-4 in their second match of the day against the Fort Mac Giants. So a 500 matchup between the two.
How are the Berries doing?
The Berries are 1-1 right now with the 57s.
Okay.
It's only the bottom of the second. Lots of game to be played.
Yeah. Be nice to see the 57s win that game today. And
yeah, still looking for their first victory of the season.
Yeah.
It's been tough sledding.
And, we have the Mavs here who are probably going to move up to 8-2. Is it 8-2?
Wayne, there's still lots of game to be played here.
I said probably.
Well,
I have confidence.
If they're able to close out this game, they would move to 8-2.
8-2. Or are we 9-2? Were we 8-2 last night? Yeah, because we were saying it. If we were to ask the Mavs at the beginning of the season,
it would be 9-2. You bet.
It would be 9-2.
You bet, because they've played 10 games.
That's going to be one of their best starts.
For sure. Yep, you would be right, especially in the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, they haven't been 9-2 since I've been here, and that's going back before 2020. So Morrison is due, and we have a mystery pitcher.
I'd be curious to see what number some of the options were in college. I'd be able to help us, but that's a lot of searching for an inning that could be over in one pitch if there's a ground ball over near second.
Boy, whoever it is, he's got a good fastball. That pitch got in on Morrison in a hurry.
There's another strike to Morrison. Well, here's what I know. Sutter Balog wore 18 last year. So if somebody else has that number, he could have just switched to just 8. Now that's a bit of a reach, but as he reaches out and makes the play over to first. And I can already tell you this much, Wayne, there will be some point streak reconfiguring tonight on my end. Don't run it during the game, just run it post-game. I'm the fill-in.
So how do you add a player in if it's not on the Beavers lineup, like into point streak? Do you have to find the player's name first?
Usually the same pitcher's just kept in, and then you just subtract the stats and give it to add it to a new guy.
All right.
If that's confusing to you listening, I understand. It's confusing to me, and I do it. So 2 outs here. 1 ball to Johnny Volcano. Or this is Aaron Volcano, rather, at the plate. Johnny's on deck. Aaron with a chance to get a couple of more runners through the finish line. Some late drop on it there. Count is 3-0. Bases could be loaded for Johnny. And they will be. Aaron Volcano jogs down to first base. And Johnny really can break this game into 2 here with a a hit. I mean, the Mavericks already have had a big inning and have separated themselves, but this could be the nail in the coffin.
Well, and we said, Johnny, he doesn't wait around up there. Last time, second pitch, he was after it.
Just like that, as he was a bit behind, but an aggressive swing. Volcano into center, and the center fielder misplayed it. It's over his head. One in to score. Two in to score. Aaron Volcano is in to score. That's three. It's a 3 RBI double for Johnny Volcano. Big time play by a big time player off the bench and on to the board here. The Mavs lead 11-5.
You know, Johnny had tremendous backspin on that hit, and the center fielder looked like it was going to be landing in front of him or right at him. Took a couple of steps in, but with that backspin, it just kept going.
And Jaden Babiak will now get an at-bat in this game after coming in to run for Jamel Chabot. A six-run eighth and a 6-run lead intact. The Mavs, after taking a night off from getting into the double digits, they've done so again here this afternoon.
You know, Weyburn are going to win their fair share of the games if they continue to play like this, because they're giving us everything we can handle.
Yeah, you think about some of the early on games against Moose Jaw and Okotoks. I would say what Weyburn's thrown here in the last two has been just as impressive.
Yeah. Their pitching has been solid.
And that's how you win in this league and reach that next level at that is elite starting pitching. Babiak tails that one off high. For the Mavs, finding ways to win games.
Yeah.
You talk about it. It doesn't matter how. It really hasn't been via the long ball this year. That's the only way they haven't won is a home run parade. But hit by pitches, wild pitches, stealing bases, being athletic, any type of hit you can get.
Well, plus, you know, there's have double digits in hits every game. So eventually those hits are going to turn into runs.
Babiak didn't get all that one there as it's fanned aside.
And, you know, this inning was started by Chabot with that leadoff single after 3 consecutive strikeouts. He gets
swing and a miss from Babiak, and speak of a strikeout, there's one. But the Mavs, that's something they didn't do a lot of in the bottom of the 8th. 6 runs, they take the lead by 6. And they're 3 outs away for a 7th consecutive home victory here on a Sunday at Athletic Park. Doesn't get any better than that, but Luke Barrientos has his work cut out for him right away. Barrientos with a first pitch strike. He'll miss on his second offering. Ooh, 2 wild misses in a row. Up at the plate is Trevor Dale, looking to spark a rally here for the Beavers. 3 consecutive balls from Barrientos. And there are pitchers warming up for the Mavericks down there as a just in case. Swing and a miss. Good one there from Barrientos. Count is full. This one is looping. It's going to be awfully close, and it's in there. Fair ball. Good hit by Dale. Couldn't put it any closer to the line. He continues to cook here. Following him is Braden Mayencourt. On deck is Ryan Daphne. Good part of the order here for the Beavers, even though it isn't the top half.
That's Dale's 7th hit in the last 2 games.
This one popped up into the air. Not sure whose ball it's going to be. Looks like Freeman's got it, and there's out number 1. And Nate King now behind the plate, so they've used all 3 catchers today. Here's Ryan Daphne. He's caused some problems for the Mavericks today. That one tied him up. He might have hurt himself on that play. He was shrugging his shoulder at the end. Of course, don't want to speculate. That's just the movement we saw after. Ooh. Speaking of hurt, that one would have if he hadn't ducked out of the way. Barrientos making up for a miss far to the other side. Another miss in that exact same spot. Daphne being patient here. He'll take a walk all day.
Oh, absolutely. Beavers need base runners. He won't be swinging.
Barrientos puts one in the zone. Swing and a miss. Big time K from Barrientos. That is not an easy hitter to strike out, and doing it in the top of the 9th is even more impressive. Mavs 1 out away here. It's Alex Alva. Take a little time before getting comfortable in near the plate, and King making sure that everything is going smooth in the infield. Runner's going to go. They're going to let him go, and that's a first pitch strike. All infielders, really except for Vanesti playing back. Now Vanesti takes a couple more steps backwards. High throw here from Barrientos. Roth is playing in the green over there.
I thought he was wanting a different baseball.
Count is 2-1. There's a foul off, so the Mavs a strike away now. Runner's going to go. This one going to be hit towards Uzawa, and he bobbles it. So the game will continue.
That should be a hit. There was no way they were going to get him at first. But it's an error.
Barrientos trying to locate one more pitch. And he wasn't able to get it past Alva, so he'll see Kokatayo. Chance for the Beavers to get a run in here. Gonna let the runner go. This one is pop back foul. It'll be out of play.
Morrison playing behind Alva. They'll let him go to second base.
And a strike there. So Barrientos gets himself right back to where he was just a minute ago. The throw way wide. King will go and grab it.
Looked like he was trying to throw that through the back wall. He really gunned up on that.
Here's the throw. Barrientos. And did he go? He did. That's the ball game. The Mavericks victorious in 7 straight at home. They haven't lost in 2025 at Athletic Park. And once again, it is big inning magic that does it. It was the bottom of the 8th that had its turn today. Mavs scoring 6 runs. And this was a game that the Beavers had within their grasp for most of the time, and they squandered a 4-1 lead, which they held for a large majority of this game. We will be right back with our post-game show here from Athletic Park, but first, a message from our sponsor, Igniter Tickets. Welcome into Mavs postgame here as, once again, Medicine Hat on top against the Beavers for the second straight day, taking this one 11-5. Final hit total 14-11. But I think what's more impressive is the scrappiness for the Mavericks down the stretch. And today it came in a little bit of a different form. Their pitching scrapped away some huge outs at critical times.
Yeah, after Dornan went out and Alfaro had a little bit of arm problems there. Our 3 relief pitchers only gave up 1 run in the last 6 innings. And when you can do that, you're giving your offense a chance to come around. And that's exactly what happened today. The offense slow getting going, and then in the 5th inning, they put up a crooked number. And then in the 8th inning, they put up a double crooked number. And that was all it took, really.
And that's been the formula as of late for the Mavs. Those crooked numbers have been their best friend. And it doesn't matter how they start. I think we saw with the Beavers tonight, they were in control from the 1st inning. They woke up on the right side of the bed, and they were ready to punch back. They were ready to get out of this losing skid that now reaches 6 games. And Trevor Dale, Ryan Daphne, huge players within getting the early lead, but they just couldn't maintain that. Their stamina gave out.
Well, and I think if you look up and down the lineup, our lineup just had more to it than what Weyburn had. Dale is, we just commented on the fact that he had 7 hits in these 2 games, but they just didn't have enough behind him and in front of him to make it a better matchup. And on our side, Yuzi Uzawa today just had a great game. And I don't think fans can appreciate, the Mavs fans can appreciate, we started off with a 5-game series, 5 games without a day off. We had 1 day off, and then now 6 in a row. So we've played 11 games in the last 12 days, and we've won 9 out of them. And that's a phenomenal start to the season.
And I was going to get you to comment on that even further. What the Mavs have done this year, and maybe a team that wasn't expected to be this, at least by the league. They were ranked 7th in the polls out the gate from the preseason, and they have dominated. And some really good teams in there. Putting the league on notice with Okotoks and Moose Jaw to start the year was massive. Weyburn is no joke. What they did to them here over the last 2 was impressive, and battling back in so many ways. Going 9-2 in any point in the season is miraculous. This is special.
Well, and it really sets up the rest of the year because we've talked about it before. We're going to lose at home eventually. We're going to go into those slumps eventually. But when you're 7 games over 500 to begin the year, you've got a little bit of leeway there to still finish the year with an above 500 record.
And the Mavs, red hot right now, and they are riding smooth right out of the gate. They're going to look to continue this as the season goes on. We will not be back until Friday here from AP as the Okotoks Dogs come to town. But make sure you tune in on the road when they play the Saskatoon Berries in what will be the season or the series of the season so far. Should be a fun one, and we will be back then. But before we leave, as always, that concludes not only our post-game show, but this one from Athletic Park. Mavs taking it 11-5. And as always, for Wayne Slosher and myself, Truman Bartman, this one has come to a close, and we cannot wait to see what the next one brings. Take care, folks.